Yo, what's going on, everybody? Back with another Top Shot video, talking some fast break strategy. In this one, it's been a rough start to this fast break for me. Barely missed the first two, and then day three, I thought there's some interesting strategy around day three compared to the other days where you basically, just pick the top guys. Seemed like the best strategy. This one, definitely going into it a little different. So I'm going to talk some strategy of today and overall for fast break in this one. Also in the community membership of the channel, do post these every day about my lineups, what I'm rolling with. Even made some changes today and how we're going about that. So this is basically where I'm just going to document all my fast break stuff and also put some so rare value stuff in there, my favorite value plays of the upcoming slate. Become a member if you want to support the channel and also get some fast break and so rare content that would just be too much to put on Twitter every single day. So right off the bat, pretty interesting that this one was at 25 three-pointers made for 5 players, which is insanely high. You got to average 5 threes made per player, which is wild. Obviously, Warriors Jazz game was postponed, so those players are not going to get any points. Then they changed it down to 20. I'm not sure if they just realized that 25 was way too high and brought it down to 20, or if, something to do with Curry and Clay and Lauri Markkanen, 3 of the top 10 three-point shooters on the slate, weren't going to be in this anymore. You can see on Twitter, like, this person tweeted out their lineup and it says 25 three-pointers made here. So obviously it was at 25, now it's at 20, but this guy did have Curry and Luka, who probably Luka is not going to play and Curry is out because the game's postponed, which does bring me to my first strategy here. You can see Underdog, great tool on Twitter that'll just tell you basically who's in, who's out. So no Josh Green, possibly no Luka. You got to think about firing up a Tim Hardaway Jr., maybe even Jaden Hardy. Could be in for bigger minutes. Guys you would not normally play, but they do get three-pointers. So that's really all you're going to use those guys for. Maybe you could use Tim Hardaway Jr. For points on another day when Luka is out, but you can't really bank on Luka just being out to save those guys for. So if I had a Tim Hardaway Jr., I would be firing up. Somehow I don't have a Tim Hardaway Jr. I have 800 moments and I don't have a Tim Hardaway Jr. Pretty crazy. You're not going to be buying one for this slate. So you can see over here Luka is questionable, and Underdog just gives you a better breakdown here, and it's probably more real-time information. But then Tim Hardaway Jr. 3.3 threes, and that's, a lot of games with Luka. I bet it's even higher without Luka. Another guy up here is Anthony Simons, who's questionable. So you could get to someone, they don't have Shaedon Sharpe either. You could get to possibly Brogdon if he plays here, or Scoot Henderson, or one of those guys that may be in for more shot opportunities in this game. So when building out this lineup personally, I went with Bogdanovic, who I probably would not play otherwise. Maybe if there was some kind of steals thing, he could come into play. But other than that, I probably wouldn't use him for a points play. Just three-pointers. 3.2, he's basically, my top guy in this lineup. He's on this slate, top 8, 9 here in three-pointers made per game, but without Simons and Luka. And I already used Trey and Hardaway. He's really like a top 5 guy here. So going with Bogdanovic, then we got DiVincenzo, who's making 2.6 threes per game, and I bet that stat is actually up over the past couple of weeks when he's been playing a lot more minutes. Cam Johnson, 2.5 threes is a good one. And then we also have Peyton Pritchard here, just 1.7 threes, but he's been playing more minutes recently. And same with Dean Wade with the injuries. He's been playing a lot more minutes and had 4 threes last game. So I'm going with the scrubs. Most of these guys I'm not probably going to use down the line or wouldn't want to use, because I don't think I have any of these rares. I might have Bogdanovic and a Cam Johnson rare. Actually, let's see if you click on it. Yeah, so I do have a rare Bogdanovic, so I can use this one twice actually, which is pretty nice. So that's my strategy. I think this is a good time in a tough one. 23 pointers made. They got to average 4 a piece, or you got to get lucky and have some guy hit 5 or 6 threes. And I'd rather go to these guys I'm not going to use. Like, I want to save McCollum, LaMelo, Hero, and Donovan Mitchell here, and Tatum, and probably Lillard. So I'd rather go to some of these other guys that I think have just as good a chance to hit threes. So that's how I'm building out this one. The next strategy I want to talk about is going for the daily leader reward. So on this one, the incentive to go to for this reward is not going to be as high as in the previous days. Like yesterday, it was a Chet Holmgren, which is probably like 5-6 times the price as Jaime Jaquez. And then on the first day, obviously Wemby, which is even more. And then we can cover my lineups. The first day, I missed it by 4 points. Randall and Siakam, probably their lowest scoring outputs in at least a few weeks here. Really hurt me. I kind of went all in on these first 2 days and both missed. And then Kawhi Leonard got to the line one time, foul drawn, and I only got 19, missed it by one again. So absolutely heartbreakers first 2 days. So hopefully we can rattle off just 9 in a row here. And they did up the prize threshold here, so even easier actually to get this pack here because there are 17 days. But you got to hit one more here. So you actually have to hit over 50% of these to get the second pack. And then a very high percentage, 13 out of 17, to get the max pack. So definitely going to be pretty tough to get to the max, and even this one to get over half of these hitting. But another prize strategy I wanted to talk about is possibly waiting till the end and going for some of the prizes on the leaderboard at the end after people have already used all their good players, So we don't actually know what the last day reward is yet to be revealed for the last 3 days, but this one, 14, is a decent prize here, $34. I think that's probably more than today's reward cost, Jaime Jaquez. So, a strategy could be just saving your guys specifically for this. So saving your 12 best offensive rebounders for this slate on day 14, or coming to day 17 and saving your top rebound shot blockers. So if you want to go to that strategy and go for the daily leaderboard on the last day, you're obviously going to want to have some of these big guns, So if we look at the 31st, there are a good amount of games here. And then we can look at the top rebounders in the league that you may want to save for this slate. So Sabonis, he only averages 0.6 blocks, but leading the league in rebounds. So maybe the better guys to save up would be Gobert, AD, Embiid, even Victor Wembanyama, because that blocks bonus, and like Nick Claxton here. So saving those guys and then just having the best lineup outright for the very last day when everyone's already used all those guys, which I would imagine most people would. Even if you have legendaries, probably you would use those guys 3 times. So strategy is just saving some of these guys up for the last day and chasing the leaderboard. You could play it that way as well, which I think is an interesting way to play the game. Another interesting thing that you could think about is like Nick Claxton is probably a pretty good fast break player because he gets the rebounds and blocks. So those usually come up a lot. So you could be going after Top Shot debuts of some of these guys, anticipating that they might use debuts in the future. I think it makes a ton of sense to use debuts the same way rares are used, but you can see Claxton's rare value here is $50 for the minimum. Guessing this is up because of FastBreak. Honestly, average sale 35, and now it's at 50. Could also look at that Top Shot debut. It's just $2. And honestly, you don't even have to buy it now, because I would imagine this one wouldn't even go that much higher even if they do announce it. But something like Julius Randle here, you can get his debut for just $6 or probably 4 or 5 on an offer, compared to the rare, which his cheapest rare is $17. So if you want to play a speculative game, definitely not financial advice, but could be stacking up debuts the way that people were stacking up rares. And obviously we've seen an increase in all of these top guys rare prices. You can see the average sale $13, lowest ask up to 17. So most of these top guys for fast break have seen their rare prices go way up, and it would just make sense if they do add a utility for the debut moments that those would also go up in price. So just something to think about, not financial advice to buy those. All right, to end the video, let's also look at day 4 here. 5 players combined for at least 25 free throws made. So we need 5 per player on average. This one's going to be really hard as well. And we can take a look at some of the leaders in free throws made. So obviously we got Embiid, then SGA, Giannis, Butler, Lillard, Trey, and then, as soon as we're getting down to the outside of the top 20, it dips below 5 per game on average. So very quickly after the top 20 players in the league, you're getting below 5 free throws made per game on average. So definitely not an easy one here, especially because you got to look at this slate and there's only 5 games on this slate. And out of the top 20, I think there's only like 1 or 2 of these guys in here. SGA, I personally have already used my common SGA, but you probably are going to have him because Embiid's not on this slate, Giannis is not on it, Jimmy Butler's not on it, Damian Lillard's not going to be on it, Trae Young isn't, Luka isn't, Booker, Durant are not, Anthony Davis isn't, Bam's not, Tatum's not, and then finally we get down to Anthony Edwards, who actually is on this. So, out of the top 12 guys, only 1 is on the slate, and I've already used that one. And now we're getting down into the territory of getting close to 5 per game or less. Again, a lot of these guys from 20 to 13 are not on the slate either, so going to be a really tough one tomorrow for Thursday, unless they do change this again from 25 down to 20 like they did for day 3. So we'll see how that goes, but it's a pretty good reward as well. Paolo Banchero, so could be a good day to go for it. There's probably going to be less SGAs because a lot of people use them on day 2 like I did for the common, so it could be a good day to fire up SGA if you're going for this one, but going to be tough in general to hit 25, I would think, even with SGA. So could be another day where honestly I just don't even play anyone or really go for some scrubs here and hope that they're going to hit it based on some of these guys getting injured. Like if Cat or Gobert doesn't play tomorrow, could fire up Naz Reid, something like that, and get really tricky with your lineups to try to hit this one. But I think it's going to be a tough day on day 4. Okay, day 5, another tough one. So these ones are getting way tougher in my opinion here. You got to have 50 rebounds and 25 assists. So you're going to have a good combination of rebounding and assist guys for day 5. There are more games on this slate, but guys to target, would be assist and rebound guys. Unfortunately, there's no Sabonis on this slate, but Anthony Davis is a good one, and Jokic, obviously, and Embiid and Giannis. But a strategy I might run out for this one is going for just, 2 or 3 big rebounding guys and then 2 or 3 big assist guys, and hopefully that collectively they can hit all of these. So a lot to think about, and the reward not the greatest. I think this is about $25 for Jalen Williams, so not the greatest reward either on this one. So hopefully you guys enjoyed a little strategy on Fast Break. If you do want to follow my Fast Break and what I'm doing every single day, do post it here in the community section, so join up if you want to see that. Also, I'm going to be posting So Rare value if you guys are into So Rare, my favorite value. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, subscribe to the channel for more, and we'll see you in the next one.